Hello Tubesters, and welcome to another one of Gav's videos. Today it's just a quick, I suppose, reveal of these three Night Models Harry Potter figures. These are I believe, the Order of the Phoenix. They are Nymphadora Tonks, Kingsley Shacklebolt, and Padfoot the dog, which is Sirius Black in his dog form. He's an animagus and can turn himself into a dog. I've had them for a while, more or less done, to be honest with you. It's just been getting a video together to show you guys. So here we go. These are to go with the other two that I've shown previously. I'll move these aside in case they distort the camera. See if we can get her in a bit more. So this is Nymphadora complete. The one survived as well, which was great, because as I say, you know, you see some people's videos and they've been snapping ones off, or ones have, you know, come apart in transit or whatever. But this one, thank goodness, has survived. I've done. It's a bit more under the light. There's actually more reds in there as well. I'm just looking through the camera and it's showing more purple, but it is actually redder than that. It's just not, for some reason, it's not showing up on the camera so well. Normally it's a type of sequins. From what I've looked on all these still photos, her jacket's like almost like sequins, and I didn't really know how to approach it. You know, to me it wasn't big enough that obviously sequins had been moulded in or anything like that. So I've just tried to make it slightly shiny. You know, it's not massively worked great. As I keep saying, it honestly isn't that purple. For some reason, the red, and I've used scale 75 paints on the whole for this, and they are actually maybe the matte is not showing up as well. I've done just a really simple base. It's Night Model's own base, and I've just given it, as I've said with my other two, I've just given them a paint of like I think dark sea blue and a bit of turquoise or blue in there as well. So there you go, guys. That's Nymphadora done. As I say, it was an enjoyable. I always say this, most of the painting always enjoyable, but it was. You have to be. You know, you'll hear other people saying it. It is very delicate resin. You know, it's not easy to work with. I've had on the superheroes, I've had hands literally snap off where they've done the cut around the jackets or whatever. You know, the resin's just not been strong enough to even. On the one superhero figure, I just tapped it with my fingernails as I was showing something else, and it just fell off. So it's not always the strongest of resin, but they are fantastically sculpted. All the little details are on show. Again, her hair is slightly more pink than that. Again, it's not showing up particularly well. We'll just see if we can. No, that's not going to make really much difference. So yeah, I don't think the face is massively like the actresses, I must admit. But you paint what you're given, really. Well, not given, but you know what they provide you with. So, yep, that's Nymphadora. We've got Kingsley Shacklebolt. Different angles, he looks a bit more like Kingsley, and probably he would have looked a lot more like before I put my brush to him. I've tried to show the type of fabric he's got on his cloak, his travelling cloak. At the back of it, there was like a lighter blue when I was looking at the film stills. This is a bit hypothetical because no matter what photograph I tried to pull up, I couldn't get a clear view of the back here, so I've done it like that. I gave up in exasperation in the end. I'm thinking, well, you can only do what you can do. The hat is very much simplified as well, because I just didn't think some of the colours and that would show up on this. So, yep, there's our Kingsley. He would later become a Minister of Magic. See, you're not just looking at sculpts, you're getting a bit of info as well. I'm probably stuffing it all up for you, but hey. And again, this is Padfoot. So as I say, Sirius Black can transform himself when he wants to into this dog. Again, I've done a fairly bright highlights on him. Again, there's the old faithful deep sea blue and some a lot lighter blue. This blue here, looking at it now, is way too bright. So the minute I finish this video, it's going to have a couple of washes on before it gets varnished tomorrow. So yeah, he was fairly simple to do. There was a tiny bit of Vallejo putty filling when the two halves went together, but not a great deal. Lovely, again, pose standing over the edge of the base, but again, because the base is quite not base, the type of resin it is, you know, I'd obviously again advise you, if you're actually gaming these, you know, pick them up by the base. Watch which, you know, obviously you're not going to be picking this guy up here, you'll try and pick him up from behind. If you've got, you know, friends that are coming over the game with you and they're ham-fisted, warn them on the pain of death to just be a bit more gentle with your figures, because there are, I would imagine, bits on these that will break off. But you can't fault the sculpting. It's really nice, and it's, again, very, very enjoyable paint process. I'd just like to thank my mate Mick, or my Meramec. I always say Mara on my videos. If you don't know what that means, it just means mate. So yeah, my Meramec, he gave me these for Christmas, and I really appreciate that, Mick. He knows I'm a big Harry Potter fan, and you know, he knew I'd been hanging around to get some of these. The only thing that I have, you know, you can understand with all these type of figures, when they're from a film, they've got to pay the dues to the film people, I presume. I have no idea, but the rights, you know, they are quite expensive. I said to Mick, I says, I will collect some over the coming time. I won't be gaming them, just for my own personal collection. But you guys know I love, for my own spare time, I like to paint large figures and busts and things, and you know, they're not far off the price of some of those. You know, it's a big investment to make. But if you're a real Harry Potter fan, or you've got deep pockets, these would definitely be the sculpts. You know, I'd suggest to get. As I say, you've just got to be extremely careful on the clean-up process, because you will lose wands. You know, it's just how it is. So be very, very careful. I'd suggest, if you remember back to Sirius Black, I had the big casting block on the end of his wand. It made it look like a butcher's cleaver. None of myself, Mick, none of us thought it would survive first contact with any type of implement. But I put the razor saw on, and instead of using like a reciprocal motion backwards and forwards, I just kept drawing it back 3 or 4 times, nice and sharp, almost went through, and then on the very last bits that were just hanging it on, the last sinews, I just pushed down gently with my scalpel, and it came off. Now I must admit, I've not tried to do any clean-up on the rest of the wand. You know, the tiny bit that was remaining, that's just a piece of wood as far as I'm concerned, because there was no way I was going to try and put a sanding stick on it. But that would be my suggestion if you do come across that. Razor saw, a little modelling razor saw, just pull the saw back rather than going backwards and forwards. Do it 2 or 3 times. Obviously check each time that you do it, see how deep you're going in it. You know, sharp razor saw will go through that like a knife through butter. And then you might decide to do that very last pull to take the whole thing off, or like I did, get your scalpel and just gently press down on the sinews that are left, and it will come free. So guys, thank you very much for stopping by and taking a look at these figures and watching my video. It's very kind of you. You take care of yourselves, and we will catch each other soon on another video. Cheers.